Alright guys, now we're getting into some real action with this video game, right? For example, when we started, we kind of just had a background, we had the grass, we had the pole and the cannon, but can't do anything with the cannon, so we made it so you can move the cannon. And once we're able to move the cannon, then we made it so you can rotate the cannon. Now that we've rotated the cannon, and you should be able to do that with all of this code, now you've created the cannonballs. Now we need to give the cannon the ability to fire the cannonballs. Really, we're giving the user the ability to fire the cannonballs, but once again, my p5play structure, universal variables here at the top, then the setup function, then below that the draw function, which again we have the if statements making it possible to move the cannon up and down and to rotate the cannon, and then we have the customized functions. The main one that we're going to be using today is at the very top of my customized functions, the cannonballs. Okay, now it was created as a new group here on line 57 for me, or for now, and I gave them the color of black. But let's go ahead and give the user the ability to fire that cannon. So once again, we're going to be in the draw function because, yeah, we are animating these as we've given them speed, which was on line 60 for me. But it comes down to giving the user the ability to fire them at any time that they want. So it's not going to happen at the beginning of the game, so it's not in the setup function. We are going to be in the draw function. So I'm going to come down here, and again, line 50 right now is showing the end of my draw function. I'm going to add more lines of code, of course, later on. So that's going to move down, but I want to be able to see the making cannonballs function because I'm going to need the name of the cannonballs. Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm going to make a note saying we're going to be able to fire the cannon. Okay, and again, this will be an if statement because we're going to give the user the ability to push a button or a key on the keyboard to fire that cannon. So it's going to be on the keyboard. We're going to give them the ability to press as. Notice this time I'm not using pressing. Why am I not using pressing? It's because, and I'm not saying you can't do it, but what I'd like to do is make the user keep pushing the button that I want them to push in order to fire the cannon. If you use pressing instead of press as, so again it's just the ES, you can change to ING, but then if they hold that button down, then it's just going to continuously fire, which actually looks pretty cool. I still recommend trying it, but I'm going to go with presses on this one. So I'm going to give the user the ability to press the F button to fire that cannon, F for fire the cannon. And here's what we're going to do. Excuse me, we're going to and we're going to make a new object. So it's going to be cannonball. So I say let cannonball equal, it's going to be a new. Now usually it would say sprite right here, right? It would say sprite, parentheses, and then would have a semicolon at the end. Now it is a sprite, but we have to access down here the cannonballs which we're creating as a group. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to say the cannonballs dot sprite with a capital S, open parentheses, close parentheses. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily do very much for us. Okay, if you were to press, so do run the code, by the way. We want to make sure there's no errors. If there are any errors, we need to fix them. But go ahead and press the F key. But what do you see happen? A cannonball gets fired from the center of the canvas. That's because we have not given it a specific location. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to say the cannonball dot X will be the same as, well, we want it to match the cannon's X, right? Because we want to make it look like it's coming out of the cannon. Run the program, press the F key, and watch. You'll see the cannonball now is coming from the center up and down of the screen, but to the left on the pole. So what we need to do is move it down, and that would be cannonball.y space equals space. Again, I'm going to make it match the cannon, but it's the cannon y's. Now it's matching the cannon. Now if you're using my code, then what you're going to need is to angle that downward just a little bit. So again, this is just because I'm going to rotate, well, I'll put this. I have to rotate the cannon fire because my image is angled. Okay, now If you're using the cannon from the assignment and not the one that I'm using, remember the one that I'm using is not coming from the assignment, right? This is one that I found, and that's the one that I'm using. But if you found one, or you're using the one from the assignment, you probably don't have to do this necessarily. So here's the code that you need one way or the other. So the cannonball dot direction. We want it to come out at a specific direction that is going to match the cannon dot rotation. Now this would be good enough for you, again, if you used the image that was given on the assignment. That would have been back on, let's see, it would have been 5.2.3. Okay, but again, for me, I've got to rotate it, so I do minus 45, and that makes mine come out exactly correct. So now when I go and push the F key, it's coming out directly outside of that cannon. Now run that program just like I am, and what you want to do is rotate the cannon while pressing the F key and see what happens. Rotate it both directions. Move the cannon up and down, and make sure that the cannonballs are always coming out of the cannon or appearing to do so. Now the speed of the cannonballs can be adjusted. Down here you can adjust the speed. Again, we don't need to adjust the mass right now. If you want to adjust the size, adjust the radius. If you don't like the color, change the color. And again, right now we can't really see this, but if you angle the cannon straight down kind of and then fire it, then what you'll see is the cannonball comes down, it hits the ground, it bounces. But you may want to see, like mine is going to, my cannonball should only last for 6 seconds. 480 divided by 60, and there's 60 frames every second. So mine are lasting 8 seconds. And after 8 seconds, again, after you fire the cannon for whatever time that you have life there, eventually that cannonball will just disappear. Which you've seen happen in video games, especially if you're playing a game where, like zombies, right? For Call of Duty, you kill a zombie, the next round starts. Generally what happens is the zombie disappears because you killed it and you're starting a new round. We don't want to overload the game with too many cannonballs, because what will happen is it starts to overload the game and then it lags, which is why we do give the cannonballs a specific life. So if you want to adjust that, that's fine. Once again, here's the code that we used to fire the cannon. Again, I have a little bit of a note in here because my cannon is different than probably the one that you used. So that's it right there. For this assignment, we are able to fire the cannon. We've created the cannonballs, and we are good to go. So if you want to take a look at all the code, let's just make it a little bit smaller. There's the top of my code with the universal variables, the setup function. So if you need to pause the video, do it. There's the draw function. And here's my customized functions, all the way down to the bottom of the grass. But once again, let's see, this is all the code that we put in for this specific assignment.